Oh, hey, we set a course to find a brand new island everywhere we roam. Oh, hey, we keep our island in our minds, and when it's time to find home, we know the way. Welcome back to StillerBros at the Movies, where today we are going to see a movie that a lot of people argue shouldn't exist. And if we get into that, we're going to have to go into the whole thing about whether or not movies are just a thing that needs to exist. Moana, 2026. So, this is an interesting territory because this is the first time we're seeing a remake of a movie we already covered. And there's of course the idea of just doing a weird kind of existential thing where we just remake the video we made back then, but I watched it and it made me cringe, so we're not doing that. Yeah, so 10 years ago, not even a full 10 years ago, Disney Animation put out Moana, a movie about Polynesian culture, and which starred Dwayne Johnson and introduced the world to Auli'i as the titular character, and it was a pretty big hit for Disney, especially because it happened to come out in the middle of what many have dubbed the second Disney Renaissance. Yeah, it was just in that sweet spot between the first Frozen and the second Frozen, which is where a lot of the Disney's bigger hits came in. Yeah, it was right after Zootopia. It was just this big movie. It didn't do like as big as Frozen, but in the years since, Moana has clearly become one of Disney's biggest franchises of the last 10 years. And the fact that Moana has now appeared in multiple Disney princess franchise things, they've got sequels and video games and now a live-action remake, which we question why this movie exists at this exact moment. Like, the original Moana is probably going to be the last movie by Musker and Clemens, the creators of The Little Mermaid and Aladdin and Treasure Planet. Basically, these big movies that were huge parts of the Disney Renaissance. But the reason for that is very simple. Dwayne Johnson.
I'm back.
It's abundantly clear that Dwayne Johnson went to some of the Disney top brass and was like, if you're going to make live-action remakes of stuff, I want a live-action remake of Moana. Specifically because he really clearly wants to play Maui in live-action before he's too old to do it. And it makes sense. Maui is a character he really, really, really connects with. He based the character off of his grandfather, and he put all of this effort into making Maui this very big personality, so he's understandably grown attached to the idea of playing Maui. God knows that if I was playing a character based on my grandfather, I would want to hold on to him as much as possible. But the thing of it is that if that's the only reason that this exists, it's kind of a weird situation that it still hasn't even been 10 years since the first Moana came out, and we're already being like, yeah, we can do better. Yeah, but as we can't really do anything about it now, so we can talk about the things that that are happening with this movie. For instance, the director this time around is Broadway director Thomas Kail, who is primarily known for his collaborations with Lin-Manuel Miranda, particularly directing Hamilton, both the actual Broadway show and the pro tape that was put on Disney Plus 6 years ago. So this will be his very first narrative theatrical film. And yeah, so we're going to see how that goes. And it's not unheard of for theatrical directors to make the leap to feature films. It's just that it's a different kind of skill set to play with. And since Auli'i has decided that she is not going to be reprising her role as Moana, even though Dwayne Johnson's reprising his role, Jermaine Clement is reprising his role, they needed to find a new Moana. Enter Catherine Laga'aia, who is a newcomer to the industry and was picked out of probably hundreds or even thousands of actresses to play Moana in live action. And as far as we can tell right now, she's doing fine with it. She sounds exactly like Moana, and that's kind of a problem when it comes down to it, because the reason to make a remake would be to at least do a few things differently. And the thing is that this movie is doing a 1-to-1 remake as far as what we can see goes.
And the reason for that is probably at least partially due to the fact that the writer of the original movie is back writing this remake.
Yeah, but the question is Jared Bush credited as a co-writer because he actually sat down and rewrote the script, or just because they used so much of his script that they felt like they needed to credit him?
Well, he's credited as a co-writer on the script, so it's hard to say for sure, but at the same time, he's co-writing it with his co-writer from Moana 2.
And on the press junkets for this, they've announced Moana 3, which means that if this somehow manages to do well enough that they were like, let's sequelize it, that means we're going to have 2 Moana tracks of franchises, to which I just am like, you're confusing the children.
These are movies made for children, and you're just going to confuse them.
They're just going to be like, but we already saw Moana 2. Wait, what? No, what? Children don't know what a remake is.
Children don't understand the differences between live action and animation, especially a movie like this where there's a lot of CGI.
Yeah, and the other thing is that it's abundantly clear that while they are trying to do a 1-to-1 remake enough that it'll be like, people like this, on the other hand, they're also trying to do their own thing, and it's not really working. Like, here is one of my favorite jokes from the original Moana. And now here's how the live action version is doing it.
Auli'i, you're so amazing. Look at the definition, this girls.
It's true, I do have beautiful hair.
See, it's the same basic joke, but it's slightly worse.
It's hard to tell, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we're really kind of trying to stay positive because, like we said in the Moana 2 video, we're positive guys.
Yeah, we'd really like to be able to stay positive on it. Even though, like with Moana 2, a lot of people have already decided that they hate this just for existing. A lot of people are even acting as though this is somehow the worst thing in the world that's happening, when it's like, guys, actual genocides are actively happening right now.
Yeah.
And you're sitting around calling people slave. But the thing of it is that a lot of people are acting like Moana is the coming of the Antichrist, when it's just like, it's just another bland looking live action remake from Disney. If there's anything good about it, we will find out. But for right now, it just looks like it's like Disney saw an opportunity to make more theatrical money off of this movie that they've already made money on and are already continuing to make money off of. Just repackage toys, add new actors to the payroll, all that kind of stuff.
But let's face it, it can't be any worse than Lilo and Stitch, where they changed the entire ending where, oh no, she's going through all this adventure and now she's just going to stay on the island forever. Then again, we're complaining about the Lilo and Stitch remake when now we're probably going to have to see the second one.
Chris Sanders, I hope you actually make a good movie. But for right now, we're not talking about Chris Sanders making a good movie. We're talking about Thomas Kail making a movie that a lot of people are already decided they hate before seeing a single frame of it.
I didn't know we were watching Fiddler on the Roof.
But anyway, we'll see you after the jump. It's fine.
It's fine.
I wouldn't go. I'm probably not gonna rush to see it again. But look, I know that everybody is just hammering in. The critics hate this. The audiences are just angry about the fact that this exists. But it's fine.
The live action remake fatigue is real and everything, but it's fine. It's not even really worth getting angry about.
It's just a slightly lesser version of Moana.
Yeah.
And Moana is already a big instant classic masterpiece. So the fact that this couldn't have lived up to it, even if it tried. And it's incredibly inoffensive as an adaptation. Like, it doesn't say or do anything that completely destroys the original version of Moana.
It's just, oh, that joke didn't land like it did in the original for reasons.
Like, they stretched this joke out a little too long. They didn't deliver this line reading right. Like, stuff like that. But let's get deeper into it. The fact that we've got two Moana and Maui combinations, well, two Moanas and a Maui combination that work the way they do is just great. The fact that we got this to work is, or at least twice, is great.
Catherine Laga'aia is a very good, effective Moana. Sometimes she's a little wooden, but we can chalk that up to the fact that she has to hold her American accent.
And the fact that this is her first movie. And yeah, it's good that she is good at this, because 70% of the movie is just her and Dwayne Johnson on a boat together.
But she's in almost every scene, too, so...
Yeah, it's a big ask to have this whole thing on her shoulders, and I kind of like the fact that it was a big ask to have the whole thing on the original Moana's shoulders, the difference being that you had a team of animators making that Moana work too, but here it's just this actress who is very much selling the fact that she is Moana, because for God's sake, she was probably like 7 years old when the first Moana came out.
Yeah. Dwayne Johnson is actually probably the highlight of this movie, and it's partly because he's playing sort of Maui differently than he played it in the animated movie.
He is not playing the cartoony Robin Williams as the genie type thing that he was playing in the original movie, mostly because that's not how Dwayne Johnson works when he's doing more than just a voice.
He's doing it more as his archetype kind of thing.
He's playing it kind of as his usual cocky self. Maui obviously isn't going around like shape-shifting, bouncing off the walls and stuff like that. He doesn't like stop and look at the camera like, you see what I just did there? It's very much playing to one of the many Dwayne Johnson archetypes that he plays with.
Yeah, it's also just the fact that You're Welcome is such a different number this time around with the visuals.
It's kind of the opposite of when Lion King 2019 did I Just Can't Wait to Be King, where they were like, we're going to strip out all the cartoony elements and just basically have the animals like run around the watering hole and nothing like that. Whereas here it's like, you know that thing at the end of the number where it got all colorful and stylized and stuff? What if that was like the whole musical number?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the one place where it felt like there was some real creativity in this movie just kind of shining through, and not just, look, we have a perfect formula for what this movie should look and feel like. Let's just follow that.
Yeah, there's a lot of points where it's shot for shot, which I didn't find annoying, but it definitely is kind of annoying to the fact that if you're gonna do something, do it your own way.
Yeah, there's like one or two added scenes, but otherwise it's basically the exact same movie, and that's a big reason why a lot of critics probably didn't like this, because it's like, why would I watch a slightly lesser version of the movie that I could already watch and have already watched and already like? But I don't know, once again, this is highly inoffensive. Nothing about this is terrible, but nothing about this makes me think this movie definitely needed to exist. I mean, the music is still the music. Lin-Manuel Miranda's and Opataya Foa'i and Mark Mancina's music are still great. The new actors kind of play with it well. One of the few things that most of the Disney live-action remakes do that this one does is slightly different, because usually those are just pointed out to be, well, that's just basically actors in cosplay singing karaoke songs. Whereas here it's like, we do not have a big celebrity cast, unless you're a really big fan of Power Rangers SPD, because John Tui is playing Moana's dad.
Yeah.
And you can make as many projects with The Rock as you want, but you'll always be a guy in a big blue dog head to us.
SPD emergency!
But then there's the new song Along the Way, which is probably the sole thing that Auli'i actually contributed while she was off working for the enemy.
I'm Jessica Cruz.
Because she is still an executive producer on this.
But if you're going to be sitting there looking through at crowd shots thinking, where's the cameo, where's the cameo, where's the cameo, you're going to be a little disappointed.
It's not like how they got Jodie Benson or Ming-Na Wen to appear in their movies.
But there's also the fact that in the crowd scenes, they also were like, how are we going to like do all this stuff that we couldn't do in animation? Oh, how about we get a real choreographer to like choreograph hula scenes for everybody and have these big elaborate musical numbers, something that we didn't do a lot of in the original movie. Yeah.
Just having all of these actual Polynesian people there showing the Pacific Islander culture to us.
Yeah, it really does feel like this is a thing that the movie is here for, even though, once again, that's what the first movie did well. The first movie did that fine. It's just that here it's like, let's just do it slightly different.
Yeah. But it's showing us their culture. It's Pacific Islanders showing off their culture and all of this stuff, and it's just kind of interesting to see and to show representation to the movies.
Yeah, and yeah, it's unfortunate that this is probably not going to do well, and as much as some people would want this to be like the death knell of the live-action remakes that Disney has been pushing, unfortunately, Tangled is already in production, so they're probably not going to cancel that, as they're already building sets and flying actors out to Spain and everything like that.
And there's a potential for more, but I don't know. We'll see. It's just, I don't know. We don't know how this is going to do, because a lot of people are already planning to not see it just out of principle of the live-action of how sick they are of the live-action remakes. Our theater was empty.
We were the only ones in there. So when the screen went black for a little bit in the middle of the Kakamora action sequence, we were the only ones who could go out to the lobby and be like, hey, theater screen's out.
Yeah, but it's not like we were cared, because again, this is basically the same movie.
Yeah, not to feel like we're insulting this. Look, talented people got paid to do this.
That's kind of why we're not negative people, is because we know talented people went through the trouble to make this happen. People woke up at 4 a.m. and started boiling coffee to begin production on this. Equipment was rented, sets were built.
CGI artists worked their asses off to make, hey, look the way you did.
There was so many people putting all of this effort into making a movie. People don't seem to realize just how much work goes into making a movie, and that's one of the reasons why we're not as negative towards a lot of movies as we probably should be.
Because we're looking and we're like, even if that's lack of effort, somebody got paid.
Somebody was so passionate about making this happen. It's the Patton Oswalt deathbed, the bed that eats people thing.
Somebody sat down and made this happen, even if it was just a bunch of guys in a boardroom being like, Moana's popular, let's make another Moana. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine.
I didn't hate it. I'm not in any hurry to go see it. If you really, really, really don't want to go see it, then fine. Rewatch the original. Enjoy that. Wait for this to come on Disney Plus if you're really not feeling this, but you're still a little bit curious. But otherwise, it's fine. I don't think I wasted my time entirely, but it's not affecting my mood in the way that 100 other things going wrong today could be.
Yeah.
But I think that's it for right now. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment what you may or may not have thought of Moana 2026, or Moana 2, or Moana, or just the franchise in general. And be sure to tune in next time when, that's the next best thing to eating Lenny. Bye.
Boat snack.